Lesson 6. The Adventures of Fish and Chips, Part 2. Introduction. In the present extract from The Adventures of Fish and Chips, Book 1, written by Margot Fallis, two brothers and their sister, cousins, go to Haggis Island in hunt of a treasure. Fish found the map of this treasure behind an old picture. They found there a rusty key. Is it the key to the treasure chest? Does X mark the spot? Harry burst out laughing. Sorry, Fish, he said, seeing his brother scowl. Where do we go next, Fish? Chips took the key and put it in her pocket. It'll be safe in here. We have to go down the trail. There's another cave, and it can only be found when the tide is out. Fish stood high above the entrance to the cave and stared down. The tide is out right now. Come on before it starts coming in again. Fish, the sky is getting dark. I don't want to be stranded out here all day and night. Don't you trust my boating skills, Chips? Harry poked her in the ribs. Not really. My dad had a hard time with the boat in the stormy waters of this loch. You know about that. Your dad nearly drowned a few years ago, Harry. Chips frowned and glanced at the sky. She's right. Let's get on with this. Harry headed down the trail. We need to get to the bottom. Half an hour later they stood in front of the cave. The tide is out. Let's go inside. What are we looking for this time? They carved a square with a triangle inside, Fish said. Harry shook his head. They weren't very creative, were they? Use the torch, Harry, and let's find the marking. Once we find it, Fish, what then? Chips stepped into the cave. Water rushed in, splashing on her legs. The tide's starting to come in. Well, Fish looked at the map. There's a stone in the shape of a horse. We need it to get into the chest. A horse? Why in the world do we need a horse-shaped stone to get into the treasure? Sounds like Angus and Walter were a wee bit off their heads, if you ask me. Harry twisted his fingers around in a circle just off his ear. Madmen. Harry, if you're going to be negative, just go sit in the boat and wait. Otherwise, be quiet and help look for the square. Use the torch. Chips sighed. Start looking. I don't like this at all. The tide's coming in and there's a storm on the horizon. Let's just hurry up and do this. It only took a few minutes to find the marking and the stone. Fish put it in his pocket and they rushed out of the cave just as the waves rolled in. That was close. We'd have been trapped in there and drowned, Harry said. What next, Fish? Chips felt her pocket and made sure that the key was still there. Back down to the beach. After we get off the rock, we have to take 15 steps. 15 of your size steps or 15 of Harry's size steps? Chips looked down at the map. It doesn't say. I suppose it would be more Harry's size. Walter and Angus were grown men. Once they reached the sand, Harry took the steps, stretching his legs as far as he could. 13, 14, 15. This is it then. It should be. Fish looked around. What's wrong, Fish? Chips showed concern. I forgot to bring a spade. What will we dig it up with? Our bare hands, I suppose. Harry knelt and started moving wet sand to the side. Well, are you two going to leave me to do all the work, or are you going to help? Fish and Chips knelt and pushed the sand out of the way. They dug until the hole was deep enough for Fish to stand in it. "Where's the treasure chest?" Harry tapped his foot on the sand. "I'm not digging one more handful, Fish. This has been a complete waste of time." Chips rambled on. Fish eyed the walls. "I see something. Jump down in here with me." "No way. One of us has to stay up here. Besides that, the tide is coming in, and in a few minutes that hole will be underwater." Harry refused to move. Chips jumped into the hole. "There is something." She and Fish dug with their fingers. "It's a chest. It's true. There is a chest." Harry changed his mind and jumped in. "I'll help you." 10 minutes later, they had the chest in their hands. Harry said, "You two climb out and stand near the hole. You're going to have to help me from up there." He grabbed the sides and struggled to lift it to his knees. "Grab it! It's heavy!" Fish and Chips reached down, grabbed the handles and pulled it out onto the ground. Harry climbed out and the three of them sat staring at it. The first waves lapped at their feet. "Let's take this to higher ground." "What about our boat? Did we pull it far enough so that the tide doesn't carry it out?" Chips glanced at Harry. "Yes, I think so. Let's take the chest back to the boat. We can take it home and open it there." Harry dragged it across the sand. "Are you going to help me with this thing or just stand there all day?" Chips stood behind the chest and pushed it. "We don't have to climb back the way we came, do we? Can't we walk around the beach?" She looked at the incoming waves. "If we hurry, I'm sure we can make it." Huffing and puffing, they hauled it all the way around the island. "There's the boat." Fish left the other two with the chest and ran. "The tide is about to carry it out. Run!" "Hey, get back here and help!" Chips felt the first raindrops fall, splattering on her face. She and Harry lugged the chest to the dinghy. She looked at the sky. Grey clouds, dark and heavy, unloaded their moisture on the island. "We're doomed. We can't possibly go home in this weather. Harry, we're all going to have to help lift this thing into the boat. If we put it in the dinghy, then the waves might carry it and the dinghy away," Harry said. "What?" Fish glanced at the waves. "The storm's not that bad." "We are going to have to take it to the cave," Harry said. Chips glared at Fish. "Now pull the boat onto the sand." The waves grew and the rain came down harder with every passing moment. "All right, let's get inside the cave and wait this storm out. We can open the chest in the cave," Fish said. "It will be nearly impossible to carry this heavy chest all the way up there. However, I might be motivated if I knew it held rubies and emeralds and gold." Harry snickered. "You're right. We should open it right here. I'm rather excited, aren't you?" Fish winked at Chips. "We might become the richest people in Scotland in just a few minutes." Chips reached into her pocket. "Here's the key." Harry opened the lid. "What? There's another compartment. Give me that horse-shaped stone, Fish." Harry pushed it into a matching-shaped hole. The second lid popped open. "Bottles?" Chips stared at the glass. Fish lifted one of them up. "It's Spanish wine. That's their treasure? We did all this work for a case of wine." Chips laughed. "This is brilliant." Harry laughed too. Wine? I suppose to 16th century men this would be a treasure. Say, if this wine is over 400 years old, it must be worth a pretty penny. I say we take it to Hamish Macmillan at the Heather and Thistle Inn. He'd probably give us a few quid for it. At least we can have enough money for a fish supper, eh, Fish? Harry nudged his brother. Fish sighed. I wanted it to be gold and jewels, not wine. Don't fret, Fish. We'll have lots of other adventures. I hear there's a load of Celtic treasure buried in the Garlocky Hills. Maybe we can search for that. Chips patted Fish on the back. Enough of this, glum manners. We'll get paid a pretty penny for this wine. Harry slapped Fish on the shoulder. They spent the next few hours telling stories of ghosts and robbers, and even shared a few haggis tale. The storm passed, and Harry took them and their cache of wine back to shore. Immediately, they headed for the Heather and Thistle Inn. Hamish was quite pleased to see the wine, paid them enough to bring long-lasting smiles to their faces. After a fish supper, Fish and Chips and Harry headed home, knowing they'd never forget their day at Haggis Island.
Exercise. Word